Corning Stone. Corning Stone.
The Tooth Fairy's exposed breasts.
The Tooth Fairy's exposed breasts made the child uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
The bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvah. This is how they always start, guys. This is what you see before we start the show. Welcome to the Perform Out Podcast. As always, I'm Chris Branch, joined with Nick Akuro.
Hello.
So, it's a weird weekend. There was no fights. Happy 4th of July weekend for those of you that watch in the U.S. Hope you guys enjoyed your weekends. I know there was a fair amount of alcohol and food involved in mine, but
not so much here.
No, but well, that's right, because you're just a wee lad. You're not even 21 yet.
I know. 2 years.
We'll get him shit faced this first weekend of being 21. Just gonna get him hammered.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, with nothing to talk about, we had no fights to discuss, but we got a bunch of fun topics to talk about this week. But most notably, Gilbert Burns out of 251 for reasons that we now like to call biological order 66.
Yeah, medical issues with Gilbert Burns. He's sick, so we'll see what Jorge Masvidal. We just got the news about 20 minutes ago that Jorge Masvidal is officially replacing Gilbert Burns at 251
do we have the source of that, just to give people?
I think it was like MMAfighting.com.
All right, they're a very reliable source.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be fun. I mean, that's kind of a fight I feel like everyone wanted to see a little bit, just because it's Masvidal and Kamaru Usman. But
yeah,
obviously,
two big names.
It's very sad. Want to see Gilbert Burns back in action soon. Yeah, so that looks like your main event for 251.
Yeah, man. Credit to Jorge Masvidal. I appreciate him taking this fight on a 1 week notice.
Yeah.
So
that's big.
That is big. That's huge for UFC fans. They could have easily canceled that fight and just had 2 title fights, which would have been fine. But I'm glad we still have 3,
Oh, for sure. And I think it was between him or Covington, and it doesn't seem like Covington really had a shot. So I don't know if that says anything about him as a person or his quote-unquote character that he plays. How about some other topics with Mike Perry calling out Nate Diaz?
I think Mike Perry's in over his head.
Did you hear about that?
I did briefly. I didn't read too much up on it, but I heard he called Nate Diaz out.
He called him scrawny and all this. I'm like, dude, you're calling out the wrong person.
All right, Mike Perry is not going to finish Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz will never fall, never go to the ground. He will. I think Nate Diaz would win that fight. I just think Diaz is a better fighter, and I think Perry's in over his head. I think he thinks he's better than he really is.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter, but he's not on Nate Diaz level. Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, he's doing all this after one win, It
was a good win. I won't take that away from him, but he's not going to beat Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz has been one of the top dogs, not only in the welterweight division, but in the UFC for years, man.
Absolutely.
Guy won the Ultimate Fighter, and he's been a mainstay and just a beast ever since. So
you know what else that has never happened to Nate Diaz? He's never been knocked out.
No.
So.
Because he's like the fucking Terminator, dude.
Dude, that guy. He faced Conor McGregor, one of the best strikers ever, and Conor didn't knock him out. He hit him 1,000 times right on the chin. Didn't put him to sleep.
And Conor throws bombs.
with that left hand. So. Yeah, I think Diaz would probably win by a decision or something, or submit him on the ground. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he needs to chill out, man. He's talking too much trash.
Yeah, Perry needs to just walk it back.
Just shut your face.
I think he's pumped up, but good for him with that win against Mickey Gall. But he's overreaching the Nate Diaz call out.
Yeah, it's not going to help his case, especially if he does fight him and gets knocked out. That's not gonna be great. Here's a fun little topic you and I talked about either yesterday or 2 days ago. There was a tweet sent out by Conor McGregor it had him holding the UFC championship belt and the WWE championship on the other shoulder, and he kind of gave some shots at Vince McMahon. I was like, all right, see, this is fun because now Connor's retired. Okay, he has no commitments, so if he ever wanted to try to make the jump, just like a one-off match or something with the WWE or AEW, or if he wanted to experience pro wrestling at all, he now is available to do it.
I would be mortified if he did that. I don't want to see it, honestly. I mean, I bet you do. You're a WWE fan,
Yeah.
but I don't want to see that at all. I want to see him, do MMA in the UFC or Bellator, or he might go to another league. Who knows?
I don't
Another
think he's coming
or
back.
promotion.
I think he's done.
I think he's probably done. But if he does come back, I'm not going to rule anything out. He might join WWE. I don't know. He'd make a lot of money doing it.
Oh
but-
yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't even look at it as like a long-term deal. Like when Ronda signed there, when Cain Velasquez was doing it, even when Ken Shamrock was wrestling back in the '90s. Like I wouldn't expect that. But Connor's got an ability to talk and cut promos on people without realizing he's actually cutting pro wrestling promos on people.
Dude, Conor McGregor, it would be good for any organization ever, no matter what it is, because Conor McGregor right now is the biggest sports draw.
Oh yeah, his name is huge.
His name is any sport. He's bigger name than LeBron for drawing business and money.
Right now, yeah, that's for damn
He's
sure.
bigger than all those guys. Conor McGregor is the number one draw in business for sports.
Oh yeah,
so
look
that
how
would
successful.
only boost the WWE. That would gain a lot more viewers.
Oh my god, yeah.
Bring in more revenue and money. So
obviously they'd have to wait for. I feel like that'd be a good move to wait for when you can hold big events again.
Yeah.
So this way you can have it happen and then just have like the have Biggie in the background playing, or which is usually what Conor comes out to is Hypnotized by Biggie. So that would be insane. It'd be like, oh my god. But yeah, no, that'd be fun.
Connor's got the coolest walk-in out of anybody.
Yeah, well, he uses the strut, the Vince McMahon arm strut. That's how Vince walks down the ramp every time he's on Raw or SmackDown.
Conor took that over. Conor admitted he stole it. He's just like, yeah, it's mine now.
Yeah, I know, I love it. The banter between those two has been pretty spectacular for a while. I did read somewhere. Speaking of retired fighters, Henry Cejudo. I can't remember off the top of my head where I saw this. But he did mention that he says right now he's only open to a super fight with Alexander Volkanovski.
Yep.
I mean, it'd be fun, but for someone his size, getting up to 145 is going to be a big task to fight there.
So, I'm the one who told you about this, and I got it from ESPN MMA.
There, yep. Okay.
So, yeah, I remember this, and this was a few days ago. I actually would bet Cejudo to win.
Really?
Yeah, really, because I know it's tough to get, he's a small guy. I know
That's a
it'd be tough to get to
big weight
145.
class jump, yeah.
Yeah, but I just think he's so much I just think he's like the superior fighter compared to Volkanovski. And Volkanovski's a great fighter. Cejudo knows how to win.
Yeah.
And I think he would just do it. But I don't think Volkanovski would be interested.
I don't know. That's one of those weird things. I mean, namesake-wise, Henry Cejudo, and he always says how he's the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. It's kind of hard to say when you've won 2 championships simultaneously in the UFC and you've won Olympic gold. I
don't think he's the best ever.
No, but he is definitely should be considered one of the best combat sports athletes of all time. You look at his pedigree.
He's in my top 15.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the best, but
no. But his thing was he made a case for himself, retired young, got out while the getting was good, retired on top. But he said he would fight for money fights. It'd have to be the right fight for him to come back.
Yeah.
And I mean, that'd be a fun fight. I would have to say maybe Cejudo could win it, but I would really consider the weight difference and the size difference as a big factor, because 145, he got up to 135, but a lot of guys that fight a bantamweight are still rather small guys. 145, they're not exactly all tiny people,
Yeah,
so.
and Volkanovski's a beast, so it'd be a really close fight. I think it'd be a good fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I hope it happens. Winner of Volkanovski Holloway.
Let's just have Cejudo fight for the fucking belt.
Yeah, Cejudo, go get that featherweight
So,
belt.
basically what he would accomplish. All right, here's why this is a big deal. Is what he would accomplish if he won that belt. He would be the first fighter in UFC history to hold a belt in 3 different weight classes. It's never been done.
Aldo has a chance to do it. No,
because Aldo's he's only ever won the belt at 145.
You're right. I confused it. He's won 2 belts at featherweight before, and now he's trying to get the bantamweight belt. So that's why I thought 3. But
yeah, but I'd say, you know what? If they can make the money thing happen, get the contract right, make it happen. Make it happen.
I will buy my pay-per-view right now for that fight.
Speaking of MMA contracts, Bobby Lashley, who is contracted with Bellator MMA, he was talking about his WWE clause in his Bellator contract, which he's also a pro wrestler. He's currently working for WWE on a second stint with the company, and he talks about how he has a clause that he could technically do both. He wants to come back and fight again. He's been wrestling for like 20 years. He's been with Impact Wrestling, WWE. He's been champion. He holds a 15-2 record in MMA.
That's good.
Yeah, and I've actually seen him fight live. Dude, Bobby Lashley, if you've never seen this guy...
I haven't.
He is a monster. Monster. He's a big dude.
So I don't know too much. Like, I've heard the name, but I don't know. I haven't really seen him, perform.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take your word for it. If he's returning to MMA, that'd be great.
Yeah. So
he sounds like a good fighter, 15-2.
Yeah, so through MMAfighting.com, WrestlingInc.com reported this, and MMA Fighting has reported it as well. He was asked by who interviewed him? Was it Devon Dudley? Did a Table Talk podcast that he does. He asked him if he left WWE, or if he leaves WWE, what would be his motivation to return to MMA? And Lashley said he wants to ride out his contract at WWE, but plans on going back to MMA. A direct quote was, "It really depends on how long this ride goes. I have a job right now. Some people didn't have a job weeks back. If I do leave, I 100% will fight again." Okay. If that's the case, you guys definitely go check out the article. It's a really good one. And listen to the podcast. I actually heard it. It's fantastic. But 15-2 record. Bellator's got a heavyweight division that, I would love to see him fight Bader for the title.
Bader's a beast, dude. I don't know.
Ryan Bader didn't get his dues correctly in the UFC because it didn't seem like Dana White liked him. What is he at now? He is a 2-division champion in Bellator.
And that's huge for Bellator that they got a hold of him,
Oh, yeah. And you think, he knocked out Fedor, who is the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Knocked out Fedor.
He knocked Fedor out.
Let's just process that.
Yeah, think about that. Only a few people have done that.
Fedor is a top 5 fighter ever.
Yeah, if not number 1 fighter ever. Like, the guy,
that's a stretch.
Go look at the names that he's beaten.
John Jones.
Anyone that was good in the UFC back in its prime days, he was murking everyone in Pride.
Half the guys. I think he's the greatest ever.
Greatest mixed martial artist ever, in my opinion. Yes.
Wow, that's a stretch, dude. I don't know. John Jones is the best, I think.
Well, you think he went undefeated for almost his entire career until someone on steroids beat him.
Breaking news: Usman. I just got an update. Usman Masvidal agreed to fight, but they're pending results on medical illnesses
on
and
biological
stuff,
order 66. Wow, look at that! Breaking news live on the show.
Yeah, we haven't had that yet.
No, but you know what else we do have? Speaking of all these bouts getting, it's actually a perfectly timed segue. The UFC is rebooking the fight between Ricardo Lamas and Ryan Hall that was supposed to take place. When was the original date of that fight?
I'm not sure, but I know they're August 25th, right?
Oh, it was supposed to happen in May.
Is it the 29th?
29th.
29th.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's going to take place in the Apex in Vegas. But it was supposed to happen in May. Obviously, things happened. Everything had to be changed. But they're back with that fight. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I believe Hall is 4-0 inside the octagon. He's only got 1 loss. And Ricardo Lamas is 19-8. So I mean, you've got a veteran who's trying to get his way back to the top of that division, and Ryan Hall coming in, still a relatively newcomer to the UFC.
Yep.
I can't wait to see that fight, man. That's gonna be
Me too.
Great fight.
Dude, great matchup. Someone with experience and someone who's trying to make a name for themselves. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited.
For sure. Colby Covington.
Don't like Colby Covington.
He was talking about in an interview.
Nobody likes Colby Covington. Let's be real.
He was talking on BJPenn.com radio about his departure from American Top Team, and he said that there were complaints from his teammates, which is what led him to leave. He goes on this whole tangent where he says, my brand was being held back in American Top Team. I have nothing but respect for Dan Lambert. The guy's nothing but a mentor, or been nothing but a mentor and a good friend, but you cross the line when you try to tell me what I can and cannot do in professional fighting business. We're locked in the octagon to kill each other, take each other's brain cells, send each other to the morgue, and you're worried about some words I might be saying. It sounds a little petty and childish, and I didn't have time for that anymore. I got big business to take care of. So, basically what he's saying is it seems like, and the headline is, it's not fair to try and take away someone's voice. All right, well, I think basically what his coach was trying to say was he's created a toxic character for himself.
Yep.
And I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to do what Chael Sonnen did. And what Chael did was Chael created a pro wrestling heel and made people hate him. But
I loved him. He didn't make me hate him.
He didn't go around making political statements and saying stuff like that. He went out and he called out fighters, and so I'll never forget when after he wins a fight, he yells, "Anderson Silva, you suck."
Dude, the thing with Colby, look, just to sum everything up in general speaking, Colby Covington's a big mouth. He's got a big mouth, and he's very open about his political views, and he's just so much drama surrounds him in his camp. He always thinks he's the superior fighter than like other guys in his division when he's not even close. Like he thinks he's top dog when he's not top dog. Like he fought Kamaru Usman, got his face beaten. Usman didn't even wrestle.
5 rounds.
And yeah, dude, Usman didn't even wrestle, and that's what Usman does. He just boxed him and beat his ass.
He wore him out for 5 rounds.
He broke his jaw.
Yeah.
Broke his jaw.
Colby Covington redacted that statement and said he never broke my jaw. And I was like...
Okay, that's called being a sore loser.
You got your jaw.
No, yeah, I saw how swollen his jaw was after the fight. It's called It's Fucking Broken, okay?
Oh, all right. So if reading more into it, apparently he... had choice words for Joanna Jacek and Amanda Nunes, which caused a divide in the team. And it just seems like he caused a rift between everyone at American Top Team and him.
Yep.
He says it's not fair to try and take someone's voice away and their platform and try to tell them what they can and cannot do, especially in the fight business. It's already an ugly business as it is. That he goes on to say, then to be mad about some words when you get Jesus, I can't read. When we're getting locked into a cage, try to kill each other in our underwear on Saturday nights. It's just a little pathetic, and it's not right. But I have no ill will towards it. I think Dan had to do what he had to do, and it felt that it was right to implement that policy for the team. So I think he has a whole policy to where they have to be, they really have to be careful what they say when they say it through the team, which makes sense. I mean, you want to keep a business professional. At this point, a lot of fight camps and a lot of gyms, they become a big business because these big professional fighters fight for them, and you want to keep something that's not going to negatively impact your business,
Yeah, I honestly I don't think anybody was trying to take his voice away, if I had to guess, because I've known Kobe as a very dramatic guy.
Yeah,
He's just trying to get attention, honestly, because right now the spotlight is not on him. He's not fighting in a main event right now, or he's not booked for a main event. I just honestly I just see it as all stupid drama that I could care less about at this moment.
yeah. Well, I mean, and that's kind of the biggest thing is you have to really look at who he has portrayed himself in the fight business as. He has created a character for himself, and it's not a good impact one. It's not like
It's not a good one.
No. I mean, if you're gonna do what you're doing, leave your political views out of it, because that's an unnecessary negativity that is just gonna hurt your brand, especially in the fight business. You have no room to talk about politics in the fight game. Like it's not that's not what you're there for. You're there to sell yourself and your fight.
Well, I'd be careful with that because, there's a lot of stuff going on with politics and sports right now, and people are just, that's the exact opposite argument that's trying to be made right now.
Right.
That people in sports should be able to speak up and should make a statement by like kneeling or by speaking.
Right.
So like,
See, I didn't mean it like that. The way I
yeah, I know,
yeah.
I know what you meant, but I'm just like people might portray it.
Yeah, no, the way I mean it as is when you're, let's say, because I believe there was a time where he just goes, or he said something during a post-fight press conference. Oh, when he talked about he was going to go win the belt and then go to the White House. It's like, all right, but what you're doing is you're drawing attention away from the fight and just making people hate you in a way. And I mean, hey, good for him if that's what he wants to do. But personally, that's the thing that turns me off from him. It's like you're there to talk about the fights in like a fight interview, like press conference type thing. Personally, that's just my thought on the professionalism. But I mean, I guess we're gonna see where it goes with him.
Dude, honestly, yeah, I guess we'll see. But I agree with you. I don't think he should be pushing, again, like you said, like his political views during a bad moment like that, like a post-fight press conference. That makes no sense. It's distracting. It's not what you're there for.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree
absolutely.
with you. He's just dramatic, dude. I don't like Colby. Well, nobody likes him, but yeah. Honestly, who cheers for Colby Covington? But no. But again, yeah, he's just a distraction. I see this as a distraction, and honestly, it's gonna blow over. Nobody really cares, and frankly, he does not deserve a title shot anytime soon.
Oh, because he went on Twitter earlier this week too with everything with Gilbert Burns falling through.
Yeah,
he wanted a title shot too. And
I laughed when I saw that.
Apparently, he wasn't even close to being in the running.
No, and he shouldn't have been.
Well, the biggest thing was he cried after he lost that fight. He's like, I deserve a rematch. It's not fair if I don't get one. It's like, dude, you know what you sound like? You sound like a 7-year-old.
Dude, he said he got cheated. He said that he didn't poke Usman in the eye, and I saw 2 of his fingers go in Usman's eye. And then he said that he got poked in the eye and knuckle right on the cheek, not even close to the eye. He's just such a baby in my opinion. I can't stand him.
He sounds like a little kid.
Yeah, he sounds like a toddler
that didn't get his way, so he's gonna take his ball and go home.
Exactly. He's just ridiculous. So like, he does not. No, I don't think a whiner should deserve a fucking title shot.
He doesn't deserve anything. When you lost fair and square, oh, I deserve a rematch. This isn't WWE, son. There's no automatic rematch clause in your contract. You get your shot. If you blow your shot, like the way you did, probably not gonna get another shot.
How about this? If it was a close fight and you weren't crying about bullshit that's not there, then sure, maybe you deserve a rematch. If it was a close fight, but no, you got your face beaten and he didn't even wrestle you.
Yeah. Well,
which is his number one skill.
That's
which
the
is
biggest
number
thing.
one skill. Yeah, he took care of him.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he did.
So,
man,
whatever. Masvidal's the best matchup, and I'm glad they picked Masvidal to do it on 251. And Colby Covington can go cry at home about it. So
we will get to 251 in a little bit. But speaking of Chael Sonnen, I did watch a video on his YouTube channel. It was talking about someone he didn't want to say the name because he respected him too much. He said, but he said this person made a case for themselves, like, oh, if I fight this person, they're ranked in the top 5, and then if I win that fight, then I should get a title shot because that person will get it. And he basically just says, who cares? No one cares about the rankings. He goes, the only people that pay attention to rankings are analysts and people that care about the sport in a way that others don't.
That's absolutely correct.
He's like, yeah, you could come up to me and say, Chael, I'm a big fan. I watched your whole career. He's like, you know what I'd say to you? All right, can you name me 5 of my opponents? He goes, no, what your job is to find the easiest guy with the worse skill set than you to make the most money. He goes, that's what you should be worried about.
Yeah.
He goes, but don't go looking at the rankings. He goes, I think he said something about he fought the number 2 ranked guy, and he was ranked number 9. And that fight that Chael had was on the prelims. It wasn't even on the main card. I was like, yeah. So he went on. Definitely, if you guys have never seen his YouTube channel, go watch Chael Sonnen's YouTube channel. He's maybe someone that people hate because of who he was in the cage, but he's an amazing student of the game. He represents the sport very well, I believe, as an analyst. But yeah, check that out. Also, we here at the Full Mount Podcast want to extend our condolences and best wishes to Khabib Nurmagomedov's family. His father passed away earlier this week in Moscow. I think he was 57. I know he was a big part of Khabib's life, so we want to extend our love and condolences to him and his family. And look forward to seeing him back in the cage with some extra fire.
And I just want to say really quickly, if you don't mind, Khabib's one of my favorite fighters, and it makes me, just upset to see something that tragic in his life happen. And I don't know what it's like to lose a father, and I don't plan on losing my father anytime soon. But it must be devastating, and my love and condolences to you and your family, Khabib. And I can't wait to see you in 253.
I do want to say that the outpour of love from fighters all across MMA, including Conor McGregor, everyone had his
number 1 rival.
Yeah, everyone had such amazing and kind things to say, and that I think is the best representation of the sport. That they can go in and beat the shit out of each other, but at the end of the day, they realize everyone's human, and that's a horrible thing to happen.
When you hear trash talk in MMA, it's because it's true, they don't like their opponent. They genuinely dislike their opponent, but at the end of the day, life and death does not all be facade. That's what it means, man. Life and death, nobody really cares about the trash talk anymore. It's a sad moment, and I was glad to see, rivals of his and, just the UFC and MMA community come together and stand behind Khabib for that. So.
And what was amazing, I think there were a couple tweets, I can't remember off the top of my head, the fighters, but they were even kind enough to pay respects to him, his religion, like to kind of add that to part of their condolences and their nice tweets. So yeah, that's a terrible thing, but I think this is gonna probably push him forward a little more in his coming fights, give him that little bit extra fire.
I think so too.
How about Sean O'Malley talking about how he's not liking how he's not making much money from Reebok?
He could be making more, I guess, but Sean O'Malley's a beast.
His quote is, he says, "I ain't getting shit from Reebok, so I'm gonna go start my own apparel line."
That's cute.
I mean, hey, that'd be cool. The kid's 25. He's a monster.
Conor McGregor made his own apparel line, McGregor Fast.
Yeah.
But that's Conor McGregor. But I mean, Sean O'Malley, he's a big name right now, but I feel like he needs to, be championship material to make a lot of money through a company or make his own,
I can at least give you some quotes. He says the whole Reebok thing is insane. I think it was back-to-back years that it was over $1 million in merchandise sales. I know 1 year for sure. I don't want to say anything that's not true, but I have it in emails. I think it was back-to-back years. They did over $1 million in shirts and whatever else they sell on Reebok, and I got 3,000 of 5,000, I think, for both years, which is insane. Talks about if someone's going to make money off of his name, he wants to at least profit from it. which I
Yep.
agree. I think we've both gone on record to say that uh, UFC payouts and MMA payouts in general are a little underwhelming.
What's that? I didn't hear that
They're a
last part.
little underwhelming. I think they should make a little
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
I know he even goes on to talk about how Connor has done it with Proper 12. You know,
Yeah.
he as he talks about through everything else he wants to get through.
Yeah, but that's Conor McGregor. That's such a bigger name than Sean O'Malley. I mean, Sean O'Malley could become a big name, but I'm just saying, like, it's Conor McGregor. It's hard to compare.
Well, he mentions in the interview. I think that's going to be my whiskey business, like Conor McGregor. He talks about the sugar strain. I think he has a strain of marijuana that is his that he wants to profit off of. He goes, I think it's going to do the best. So we're all getting into the industries. So it's nice to see fighters look at more of a business side to everything else in in their careers that they could use for their name, instead of just having fighting. Like, look at Conor.
Yep.
Became a successful businessman. After Ronda Rousey retired, she became a movie star and did used her name to gain good traction. Countless fighters have opened up gyms. Like
Yep.
Uriah Faber has Team Alpha Male, which has become kind of stable of murderers row of fighters. So I think this is a good thing for him to realize at a young age. And I mean, he's only 25. Like, kid that's younger than me is already thinking, all right, I'm going to use my brand for something crazier than just fighting
Yeah.
to set himself up. So I look forward to seeing O'Malley back in the cage, but I really look forward to seeing that apparel line.
I agree.
I'm down.
Absolutely.
So now the moment that we've been waiting to talk about, UFC 251.
Yes, sir.
Which will take place next week. I'm sorry, yeah. No, it's technically
Next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday.
Well, this Saturday.
Yeah,
It's a new
it'll
week.
technically be because it's recorded on Sundays. Yeah, so it'll be Saturday. It'll be in Yas Island or Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. We got a nice little card here.
Dude, I'm so pumped. You have no idea.
I know, I'm ready. It's it's gonna
I'm
be.
so ready. I thought Fight Island was BS at first. I thought it was just talk, but it's real. They got a stacked card.
You
Props
know
to
it's
Dana White.
a stacked card when Volkan Ozdemir is on the prelims.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
That's,
This is Leonardo Santos.
Yep. You're looking at the card too. So
Yep.
Danny Grant and Martin Day. Those are two really good fighters coming up. And that's on the early Fight Press prelims.
So can we just really talk about this main card? Because this main card is maybe the most stacked main card I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Oh my
Listen,
god.
How about, I mean, it starts off with the return of Paige Van Zant facing Amanda Ribas.
So really quick on Van Zant, I'm not sure if we did mention this in the last podcast. This is her last UFC fight, probably, because and me and Chris think that she's going to go to Bellator and fight in the same promotion as her husband, who's a great fighter as well.
Austin Vanderford undefeated.
Yeah. So I hope she wins her last UFC fight. I'm rooting for her hard. I'm a huge fan of hers. She's a great fighter, and I can't wait to see her fight against Amanda Ribas. So,
I mean,
who also is a great fighter.
9-1. I mean, she's 10-1. So
9-1. 9-1.
Oh, 9-1. Yeah, I'm sorry, 9-1.
It's all right. Yeah.
But I mean, she's beaten Emily Whitmer, Mackenzie Dern. Like she is on her way up, and I mean, she's only had 3 fights in the UFC, but it's a good test for her, and it's a good test for Paige Van Zant, who has been out for a little bit with injuries.
Yep.
Paige has a pretty good record so far. I mean, 8-4. It's not terrible, but she's also fought some really good fighters. Like, she's Rachel Ostovich. She lost to Rose Namajunas and Michelle Watterson, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, those guys.
I mean, she beat Beck Rawlings. She's beaten Alex Chambers, Felice Herrig.
Yep.
She lost to Tisha Torres. So I mean, it's not like she hasn't fought people, but she's also lost against some of the top fighters. So when you can beat some big names and lose to some big names, yeah, your record's going to be a little off-putting,
Shaky.
but I mean, this is a great way for her to come back. She hasn't fought since January of last year, so she's
Yep.
been out for a little bit. She did win, but I'm excited to see her come back.
I got Paige winning this fight.
I do too.
I do too. Yep,
Definitely
I do.
have her winning this fight. Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas. This is a rematch.
This is great. I'm a huge Rose fan, by the way.
Oh yeah,
And I got Rose winning this fight.
I do too. This fight is the rematch. It just doesn't have the belt on the line. Rose Namajunas went on Ariel Helwani's show and talked about how the death of a few of her family members recently have really helped her put things into perspective and how much she misses fighting and how much she realizes she loves it. She said she mainly misses having the belt. So I'd love to see her win this fight and go on to face Zhang Wei Li, because I feel like that'll be a great fight.
Wei Li's amazing. Dude.
She
I don't
is.
know.
I mean, and she destroyed Jessica Andrade very quickly in their title fight. She won
Yeah.
in 42 seconds.
Yeah, man. So this fight's 3 rounds, right? So
Yes.
all right. I think it goes to a decision, but Rose wins by unanimous.
I wouldn't be remiss to say Rose could knock her out, because she did get KO'd
absolutely.
on a slam. So I mean, she's gonna want to
Well,
avenge
anything
that
can happen in a
knockout.
fight,
Oh,
so yeah.
which was proven when they fought the first time, when she tucked her head the way she shouldn't have and held on to, and she could have prevented herself from getting KO'd by a slam, but it happens. It's fighting. But I am excited to see that fight. Then we
Me too.
get to the championship fights. First
Yes, sir.
is for the vacant bantamweight title. It'll be Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo is still the most dominant champion in featherweight history in the UFC. He actually defended his belt 7 times. Max Holloway actually only defended the belt technically twice,
Yes.
which is nuts considering Holloway held the belt forever.
Yeah. So, I
But,
mean,
Yeah,
there was a lot of controversy surrounding Jose Aldo being in this fight. I thought it was a little weird how they picked him.
he's
'Cause-
on a 2-fight losing streak.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Peter Yan's probably going to win.
Yeah,
But I mean, if Jose Aldo won another belt in his career, then I think that's it's unbelievable. He just keeps on making history.
he held
for
the belt
himself.
for 5 years.
Yeah, and he won 2 different belts. Well, they were both featherweight belts, but he lost the title and won it back, right?
Yeah. So technically, he actually held it for longer. If you count what they did with WEC when they formed WEC, he's technically been champion since 2009. But
Yeah.
once the UFC merged, or WEC merged with the with WEC and UFC, like that combination, they promoted him from WEC featherweight champion to UFC heavyweight champion. So
Yeah,
if
man.
you get technical, he's held the belt since June 9th or June 7th, 2009. Then lost to Conor McGregor, and then Conor, I believe. Oh yeah, because that was when they fought at UFC 200 with Frankie Edgar, and Jose Aldo beat him for the interim belt, and then was promoted to the champion again. So
Yep.
this will be because he fought Holloway twice, lost the belt both time, or lost the belt and then couldn't regain it. And then his last 2 losses are Marlon Moraes and Alexander Volkanovski. So I mean,
Those are great fighters. So I mean, I got Yan winning still.
do you?
I do. I have Yan winning, not by knockout, but by a really. It's gonna be a close decision. I think.
Peter Yan's
It'll-
14-1.
I think I know he's awesome. I think it goes all 5.
I could see that. And
I could see them both beating each other up, and it's going to be a brutal fight. And I see Yan winning by split decision.
his last 3 fights, Peter Yan, he has had victories over Uriah Faber, Jimmy Rivera, John Dodson, and Douglas Silva de Andrade was his 4th one. That was a corner stoppage. So he has his last loss was in 2016 to Magomed Magomedov. So I mean, he's an established fighter now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like he's lost to somebody terrible, but you're kind of looking at, well, you've got Jose Aldo, who's been one of the most dominant fighters at 145 ever, versus this up and coming killer, he's not even 30 yet. He's 27 years old.
That's right. So it's a tough fight, but I think Yan wins it.
All right. I'm gonna go Aldo.
Oh, okay. All right. You got the vet.
I got the vet, man. I've watched his whole career, and you put him. Jose Aldo's one of those fighters that you put him in the spotlight when it matters most, and 9 times out of 10 he gets it done.
Yeah.
But Peter Yan's a terrifying fighter, so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a great fight. I'm excited for it, and I think winner
absolutely.
of this, Cody Garbrandt should get the shot for
Cody
it.
2.0, man.
I think he should get the title shot. Winner of this,
with one of the nastiest knockouts I've seen in a long time.
right at the end of the round. But
boom.
anyway, yeah. But anyway, I got Yan.
Speaking of another rematch, Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 2.
This one I'm really pumped for, dude. Volkanovski 21-1.
I know. You know who his only losses to?
Huh?
You know who he lost to? Corey Nelson. Back when they both fought in Australia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was in 2013. That's his last loss. He's since marched through people like Darren Elkins, Chad Mendes, Jeremy Kennedy, Jose Aldo, and then most recently beating Holloway. I mean, most people are gonna go the route of Holloway. I think just because of how impressive his career was so far.
And everyone loves Max Holloway.
But I'm gonna stick with Volkanovski keeping the belt, man. I think it's his time.
I agree.
He's gonna keep it for a long time. I think he defends it more than Max was able to. But I think he holds the belt for a long time, man. We're witnessing the birth of a superstar.
And I also want to point out Max Holloway's camp has not been ordinary. He has not been working with coaches and stuff. He's been conditioning. That's all he's been doing.
He hasn't even sparred.
He hasn't sparred or anything. So I think that's just going to hurt him. I think Volkanovski wins by unanimous decision.
Oh, wow. So you think it's going to go all 5?
I think Yan's going to go all 5, and I think Volk's going to go all 5.
I don't know. I think it could go all 5. I mean, obviously, it makes things hard with Max. I think it didn't help. He's lost 2 of his last 3.
Yeah.
But obviously, I don't know if you can count the loss to Dustin Poirier as an official loss because that was at 155, which was the first time he had ever gone up that high.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think Volkanovski proved to himself and everybody else that this dude's a beast. This guy had his friend move his wedding so he could fight because he was in the wedding. His best friend moved his wedding so Alex could fight.
Yeah. That's unbelievable right there. I mean, I can't wait.
This dude's story is nuts. So I think Volkanovski wins. I think I can agree. It's going to go all 5. But
and can I just really quickly point out that whoever wins this fight, I will be happy with because I love both these fighters. I'm a fan of both, and both of them are champions in my eyes.
Yeah.
So.
But if he loses, I don't think this is the end for Max.
I don't either.
I think Max is gonna. If he loses, I think Max is gonna regroup. He's gonna go back to the drawing board, try to figure out what he needs to do next, and I think we'll see him rebound.
I do too, because Max is very resilient, and he's a great fighter. And they're both champions in my eyes, like I said. So I can't wait for this fight. Nothing but respect. It's a stress-free fight for me, and I'm pumped.
You know what I'm pumped for now? The main event for the UFC Welterweight Championship. Being as Gilbert Burns is no longer able to be in the fight, but we get Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, the BMF champion.
So, wait, really quick. If Usman, when Usman wins, does he get the BMF belt also or no?
I feel like that should be something that happens.
Absolutely. You don't just lose and hang on to a belt.
No, because it apparently was said that that was a one-time deal by Dana White. He said it was a one-time thing. We're not doing it again. Like, why not?
So Masvidal is
Why not?
the
Mas-
keep that.
Masvidal won that belt because Nate Diaz had his face beaten so bad, but was not willing to quit.
Masvidal destroyed Diaz. I think.
Yeah, but Diaz would have died in that cage because that's who Nate Diaz is.
Absolutely. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Nate Diaz won a rematch against him. But anyway,
run it back. Run it back.
Run it back.
Run
Let's
it back.
go.
I want to see that fight. I want to see Colby Covington fight Nate Diaz so Nate Diaz can knock him out, and then I want to see Nate fight Kamaru Usman just because that'll be a fun fight.
Dude, I want to see Masvidal and Conor for the BMF because I think Conor's not winning a title anytime ever. So
I'd like to see it, but
Diaz, Masvidal, run it back. But anyway, back onto the Usman Masvidal fight, dude. I'm so excited for this. I'm not a Masvidal fan. I think he's a little overhyped. He's a great fighter. Do not get me wrong. But Kamaru Usman is one of my favorite fighters in the league. League. I'm thinking I'm thinking baseball in the organization. I got Usman destroying him all 5 rounds. He's gonna comfortably win. I bet you he could finish him in the 4th or 5th round. If not, he'll win by unanimous decision. That's just me, though.
Here's the thing with Usman. He holds wins over Leon Edwards, Sean Strickland,
Tyron Woodley.
He owns one over Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia, Rafael dos Anjos, who's a former champion.
Covington.
He beat Colby Covington. It's like this guy's taken out 2 former champions and another former title contender in Damian Maia. He proves he can get it done. I mean, he's 16-1 for a reason. He has some of the best wrestling in
the world.
In the world, he's definitely top 5 wrestlers in the world. And he proves his skill every time he goes out and fights. But, it's not... I'm not saying that, Usman hasn't... Or not Usman, but Masvidal hasn't really had an impressive, career. I mean, he beat Darren Till. He beat, obviously, Nate Diaz. He got lucky against Ben Askren. He has a knockout win over Jake Ellenberger.
Didn't he beat Cowboy?
He beat Cowboy. Yep. He's also holds fights not only in the UFC but Strikeforce. He fought a bunch of different guys. He's fought in Bellator.
Yeah, Masvidal's no joke.
No, he's a grizzled vet, man.
I would never count him out of a fight, but let's be real. Usman's probably a better fighter than him.
Right now, yeah, I would totally agree that Usman, between the two, Usman is right now probably the best at 170 in the world.
I think Usman's a top 5 fighter in the world.
Oh, yeah. I would have loved, though, it's too bad we don't get cross-promotion fights in MMA like we do in boxing, but I would love to see him fight Douglas Lima, who's the current Bellator welterweight champion, and I'd love to see him fight Rory McDonald.
Yeah. Are you happy with the sub? Because Burns clearly had to back out. So, I mean, do you agree that Masvidal was the right fill-in?
I mean, I don't know who else you'd give the opportunity to.
Colby, but
Colby lost his opportunity. He lost the fight. He lost his chance at a rematch. Let's be
real. Nobody wants to see Colby.
No, and I don't believe in rematches when people cry. But
oh God, no.
I think Masvidal is the best choice. I think out of anyone, who else is in that ranking right now? I mean, he's already beaten Damian Maia. He's already beaten Leon Edwards. The only one there that he hasn't beaten in the top 10 is Nate Diaz, Michael Chiesa, and Stephen Thompson. And right now, Wonder Boy doesn't exactly have the best credentials. He's lost 2 of his last 3 fights.
Yeah, you have Usman winning, right?
I do.
By what?
Probably.
I say
5th round stoppage.
A TKO.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's gonna wear him down.
I don't know about submission. No, I think it goes the distance by unanimous. I think all these title fights are going to go by decision. They're going to be great fights, and I am not going to regret paying my pay-per-view for this.
And if Masvidal happens to win, then we'll come back next week on the podcast to be like, all right, I wasn't expecting Masvidal to win, but if he could be impressive.
If Masvidal wins, I'll be very happy because, well, not very happy, but because that gives Conor kind of a gateway to maybe go get a belt. But
Yeah, but again, I don't see Connor as much as you and I would both love to see him come back. I
No, I don't either.
don't
But
think
if he
he'll be
were
back.
to come back, that would be the easiest pathway if Masvidal got a hold of the belt, which I don't
Yeah.
see happening. But
Well, the biggest thing with Connor is Connor's got nothing left to prove.
he doesn't. You're right. He does not. And
He's gone out. He's shown that he can fight in multiple different weight classes.
but are you
You
telling
know.
me if Connor didn't get that if Connor got that welterweight belt, that'd be unbelievable, right?
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy.
But obviously not going to happen.
He'd
Connor
be
should
he
stay
would
retired.
be the first ever three division champion. No one else has won a belt in 3 divisions. So
Connor. I think Connor could beat anybody in the lightweight division except Habib. I think he could easily beat anybody in that division.
I don't know about Gaethje though. I don't.
He would beat Gaethje
because Gaethje hits so hard.
Connor hits so harder.
The only thing I would say is I think maybe Gaethje hits a tiny bit harder, but we won't know because we won't get to see that fight.
Who's got better accuracy?
That's a good question. The biggest difference
I'd
is
say Connor because I've seen Gaethje. I saw great accuracy from Gaethje in the Ferguson fight, but his career he's a little sloppy throwing haymakers. But
Yeah.
I mean Connor's more patient, timing's better.
Oh, he's a
his
counter
accuracy-
striker. Connor's a way better counter striker that we've at least seen
Connor might be the best counter striker of all time.
in MMA history, maybe between him and John Jones.
Yeah. So I mean, anyway, you're right. We're getting off topic a little bit.
No, this is
Fight's never gonna
this is a
happen.
good little conversation to have. I mean,
Dude, yeah,
you never
you
know.
You want to quickly talk about 252, Stipe versus Cormier?
We got time for that one actually.
Just very quickly, I
Yeah.
think Cormier is going to win it by decision. It's going to go the distance.
I
I don't see knockouts.
don't know. I kind of, as much of a fan as I am of both fighters, Stipe and DC, I like both of them. Part of me wants to see Stipe win just to get the rematch with Francis Ngannou.
If Stipe wins, I will lose my mind happy because I don't like Daniel Cormier, and Stipe is one of my favorite fighters.
And this is his final fight, DC's final fight. Anyway, in his career, he's already announced he's going to retire at the end of the fight.
About damn
Win or
time.
lose, I mean, the guy, his only loss at heavyweight in his entire career is to Stipe Miocic, and he's in his 40s. So, I mean, the guy's had a very successful career.
Oh, guy's a Hall of Famer, top 10 fighter ever.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be a good fight.
We'll dive into that more in a later segment. But
Absolutely.
253 is gonna be Habib Gaethje. We'll talk about that more in other episode. But 251, guys, I'm really excited. Usman Burns, excuse me, not Burns anymore. I wish it was Burns.
Yeah.
Usman Masvidal. I cannot wait for that. I think Masvidal is gonna get hammered.
So have you noticed that you haven't seen Miss Ariane Celeste by the UFC cage side as a ring girl recently?
No, is she all right?
You haven't noticed she's been gone?
I didn't really think about it.
She is pregnant. So congrats to
Oh.
Ariane.
I thought you were gonna say something tragic.
No,
like she passed away or something.
No. She announced on her Instagram a little bit ago. We haven't talked about it, but no, she is having a baby. So congrats to her.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. All these quarantine babies. She's having one. Was it Misha Tate just gave birth to a child? Like it's all these quarantine babies, man. You got nothing to do but sit around and do the dirt.
And make you got nothing to do but make a family. So
Also, shout out to Volkan Ozdemir on the prelim for the prelim card. I think he gets it done. That guy's a beast. But yeah, any final thoughts before we wrap this bitch up?
I'm holding a 251 party. I'm inviting some friends, including you, if you want to show up.
I possibly will.
Yeah, you don't have to wear a mask or anything, but yeah, I'm really excited. Saturday night is going to be a great night. I think I just don't see anything being disappointing. And your final thoughts? Anything?
Yeah, just excited for this card. I'm really happy that they found a replacement so quickly for Gilbert Burns. Obviously, I fully believe he should get a title shot once he is able to compete again. I think that is the right thing for the UFC to do. So hopefully Dana doesn't screw him over. I think there was a lot of it was really hard to have a lot of news talk about today this week, because there are things we kind of can't talk about right now on YouTube. So you got to be careful, but it's it was fun to find all these little topics, just these little just random tidbits, like Bobby Lashley talking about coming back, Sugar Sean O'Malley talking about his own weed strain, and how he wants to start his own apparel line. But no, I'm really pumped that we're getting these good fights, and Abu Dhabi, pumped that one championship now is coming back in July. Obviously this month at the end of the month, and just everything's getting rolling. So we're going to get more MMA soon. We probably won't dive too much into one championship. I'm sure we'll cover some stuff, like the fact that
Demetrius Johnson's going for a belt.
Vitor Belfort making his debut, looking like an absolute snack right now. That's what TRT makes you look like.
Pause.
A monster. So yeah, man. Plug your up.
He said he looked like a snack.
I did. You out there looking like a snack.
Pause.
Ain't no pause. That's staying in. I stand by that.
Really quick, I'm sorry, I forgot to say this. I just want to thank Gamebred for stepping in for Burns on a 1 week notice. Not a lot of fighters like taking fights on short notice, so thanks for doing that and giving us a fight. So that's it for me.
Absolutely. Plug them socials, son. Let them know where they can find you.
Nick Kakuro on Instagram. Follow me. Ask me any questions through DM. NickC273 on Snapchat, and my Twitter account is nkakuro. Text me via social media anywhere if you have questions about MMA, or if you're interested in coming on the podcast, or anything at all, really. If you just
so who knows? Maybe
those are my socials.
Maybe we can get your dad on next week.
Yes.
You can find me at what is my new Instagram? I believe it's Chris_Branch92. Snapchat, it's Finjif. I believe my Twitter is also Finjif. I don't know. I just lose track of all of it. I'll just leave both of our socials and everything in the description. And until next week, guys, we'll see you soon, and fight on.
Love you guys.